Okay, welcome everybody. It's so lovely to see that we've got women from all around Australia joining us today at the Business Women Australia Gold Coast think tank, and we're going to be hearing from the fabulous Lizzie Nelson, who's be exposing the myths of business insurance. We'll be tapping into her brains about business insurance shortly. But before we do that, I'm actually going to give you a bit of an update about Business Women Australia. Before I do, I'd just like to acknowledge the country in which we're meeting today. We're on sacred, sovereign, Indigenous ground that's been lived, danced and celebrated on for over 120,000 continuous years. And we pay our respects to all our Indigenous elders, past, present and emerging, and celebrate our Indigenous sisters in business. So I'm actually in Perth. I'm actually on Whadjuk Nation Noongar land of the Noongar people, and I'd like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. For those of you who don't know me, welcome. I'm Lynn Hawkins. I'm the National Director of Business Women Australia and founder of Business Women Australia. I've taken on much more of a visible leadership role in the last couple of years because the original co-founder, Jennifer Bryant, who was my partner in crime, used to do a lot more of the visibility stuff, and she decided to retire a few years ago and told me it was time to put my big girl pants on, step up and start leading the organisation, which, to be honest, I have absolutely loved doing, and it's been incredible. Being able to connect with women across industries, across professions and states, been phenomenal. My background is in corporate marketing and business development. I am a mother of 4 amazing adult children, and I have a gorgeous dog called Wasabi and a wonderful husband. Simon and I've been married for 25 years, so we've had our ups and downs and we're still hanging in there, loving each other and starting to date again now that all of our children have their own licenses. So that's pretty awesome. It's probably the biggest news of all. So what's the vision of BWA? Well, it's a national collective where everyone's valued and can contribute to the greater good. We really want to be that female leadership collective that is the #1 national collaborative that the rest of the communities, the associations and group look at and go, how do they do that? Those women are amazing. Look at what they're achieving. Look at the impact they're making. And we have a shared vision, and that is a mission, and that is to help each other achieve success, not just in business, but in life generally, to be a network of influence and to create opportunities to make sure that female leaders are being seen in Australia. Because if other women see us doing it, stepping up, being seen and making an impact, then if we can do it, they can do it. That's our whole mantra. We are actually made up of both business owners and entrepreneurs, but also women in organisations who are in management and leadership roles, women that are really taking on sort of those kinds of roles, whether they're in their own business or in executive roles where they're making an impact and helping shape their organisations and shape the impact their organisations having on their communities. So we've also got some fabulous students that are now part of our cohort too, particularly in relation to our work that we're doing with various universities around Australia, including Torrens University, who have actually formalised a partnership with us during COVID. We focus on 5 areas of development, of professional development: leadership, business improvement, personal growth, influence and profile building, and of course, connecting. We actually spent a lot of time when we first developed our business plan, being a female-owned and female-designed organisation, we spent a lot of time working on values as the foundations of the type of organisation we wanted to be. And then we went out to our community and we actually pressure tested our values. We changed some of the things and we looked at how each of these shared values actually need to be demonstrated in behaviour. And I'm going to talk about collaboration today because it is one of the things that we actually do really well. We love collaborating with other groups, with other organisations, with our partners, with our members. And each year we design our events and everything we do based on what our stakeholders really want from us. We don't sit here and say over 12 months, what are we going to do? Let's roll it out. We're not corporate entertainment. We're really around collaborating with each of our stakeholders in order to help them achieve their goals. and their shared objectives that we also would share, you know, around raising that visibility, about sharing knowledge, about improving the way the business world works. So yeah, I think collaboration is obviously one of the key things that's important to us. Conscious care is another one. As a part of the friendship group that we form across each of the states, one of the things I really love about BWA is that I'm developing these awesome friendships, and I have this incredible group of women that are there and hold space for me. During COVID, we decided to bring everything online and keep everyone connected. And it was incredible how women came out of the woodwork all around the country to just hang in together and give each other a bit of support and encouragement, to hear each other's stories, to have a bit of a cry, a bit of a laugh. And I really realised that as an organisation, we are pretty special, that we've got that real consciousness of caring that sits at the core of who we are. So for those of you who have been thinking about becoming a part of our community, we would love you to do that. There's loads of benefits, and I'm happy to spend any time with anyone who's new to Business Women Australia, or who might be seeing this as a recorded podcast. Then I'd be really happy to spend some time to talk about what it is that you're looking for and how we could create whatever you're wanting into our program for next year. As a part of our partnership with Torrens Uni, one of the great benefits of being a member is that you get access to all these courses at no cost. They're all short courses online. It's phenomenal. I think there's 36 or 37 different subjects. They're all got leading research and evidence-based aspects to them. I think the longest one goes for 90 minutes, and they're really worth doing. We also are now asking for expressions of interest for our next round of scholarships. So if you know of anyone who's thinking of doing a further degree, and if they are interested in becoming a member of BWA, they can apply for a Torrens University diploma, degree, postgraduate. And if they qualify, every single one will get a minimum of a 15% scholarship. And we have another one in 2021, another fully paid 100% scholarship. We awarded this year's one to the gorgeous Kylie Clark in New South Wales. She's speaking at one of their next events, actually, on their panel. So we're really excited to have that open for expressions of interest again. For those of you who are social, and I know lots of you are, we have a LinkedIn group. It's free to join. You don't have to be a financial member of BWA, so we'd love to see you in there. We've got over 3,000 amazing ladies in that group. On our website, businesswomenaustralia.com.au, we have our calendar of events. So if you're ever thinking what's coming up, it's always got the latest events by month, so you can scroll through and check out what's coming up. Follow us on LinkedIn, on our company page, on our Facebook page, Twitter and Instagram. And our members enjoy a private Facebook group on Facebook as well. So thank you to all our collaborative partners. We could not do what we do without these amazing organisations that work with us, from Catco Enterprises, who look after all our social media and our website, digital marketing, Solo Accounts, who do all our accounts, our invoicing, do our bookkeeping, deal with our accountants, Torrens University, who have been so incredibly generous in offering us the scholarship program and the courses for our members. Intact Teams, Jessica Schubert has just launched the Lead the Future development program. If you've missed out on that, it's amazing. It's been heavily subsidised by Business Women Australia so that everyone can get access to this. It's a short, intensive course. We will be running that again next year. It's got a mixture of mastermind groups and masterclasses. And Jessica, who is our head of global learning and development, she's a phenomenal woman. She has actually designed that as a bespoke course for Business Women Australia. So there's our membership. At $2.99, you can join as a classic and get all the benefits of all those things. If you want to become a premium member and help work with me at the leadership level in BWA and be delivering series of webinars or be in our podcast show, we're looking for women who are at the top of their game across different industry sectors. to work with us for the 2021 program. So for all that extra work, you pay more because you've got to be more invested in what we do. So it seems like a strange model, but it works for us. Okay, we've got lots coming up. Lucky Bunbury, they're all seeing each other banter by the sea. They're having a bit of a picnic and a bit of a chat around what they're going to be doing for 2021 in that gorgeous southwest seaside spot. For those of you who are interstate, when you get the opportunity, come over to WA and meet all these amazing business women in the Mandurah Murray region, which is another gorgeous area that's awesome during crabbing season. They're doing their open mic planning for 2021, hosted by Sue Daly, who is phenomenal. She has an electrical company, a construction business, and she's actually a building designer. On the 2nd of December online, we'd love to see you all back here in the Zoom boardroom for Clever Cashflow Christmas tips with our chartered accountant, Natasha Lee, and Donna Vincent, who is the founder of Solo Accounts and who does all our invoicing. So if there's two people who know about cash flow, those two will be able to give us some great tips. And anyone is able to join in with our Torrens University Australia Speakers Series. We've got Thrive with the Skills of the Future. We've got Tim Gilbert hosting, and we've got some amazing lineups, including Jessica Schubert, our Director of Learning and Development here at BWA, and our scholarship recipient from last year, Kylie Clark, who's the Director of Avise, are on that amazing panel. So we'd love to see you online for that on the 2nd of December. And you can find the links to all these on our BWA calendar on our website. So if there's anything on there that grabs your attention and you'd love to join us, please do. So I'm going to hand over to Lizzie Nelson now. It's going to be amazing to tap into her energy and her insights into exposing the myths of business insurance. I don't know anyone that's more passionate about business insurance than Lizzie. And I'll be posing her some questions as well. And feel free, if you've got a question, pop it in the chat box. I'll keep an eye on that, and then I'll interrupt Lizzie as we go. And feel free to ask whatever you like, and then we'll have a bit of banter after Lizzie's finished her presentation. So over to you, Lizzie.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. As Lynn said, my name is Lizzie Nelson. I own Evolution Insurance Services here on the Gold Coast, and I'm going to proceed in showing you my technical prowess and sharing my screen and getting my PowerPoint up. Here we go, Lynn. Right. Okay. Can we all see that? Just a little thumbs up.
Yes, we can. Well done, Lizzie Nelson.
Okay, here we are. It's another tick in the box. What I wanted to do today is, as Lynn said, bust a few myths in terms of what our standard beliefs are around insurance. Particularly at the moment, it's a pretty tough space. You're either trying to find it, paying heavily for it. And I'll kind of explain why that is as we go. So what we're going to cover today, 3 points to kind of consider when you're thinking about insurance is myth 1 being insurance is expensive. What can I do about it? So why is my premium increasing? You know, can we be proactive in this space instead of just kind of receiving what they're giving to us? The second point I want to talk about is recognizing your power as the client. Really don't want us to get lost on the fact that clients are so important. You know, there's so much option out there for you guys now in terms of where you can place your business and who you can utilize. And it's really important to stay in that power and know that, you know, you're the captain of your own ship and you can actually utilize who you need to for your own service. And then 5 reasons you might not need an insurance broker. I'll cover those at the end and we'll see how we go with that. Okay, so my first slide essentially refers to why is my premium increasing? And I have put the picture of my 2.5-year-old there on the screen so you can see that I'm sure somebody at some point has pulled that face and chucked a wobbly like that when they have opened their invoices, opened the email from their broker and kind of thought, oh my God, hell, this one was because she couldn't go to a birthday party until the next day. The party wasn't until the next day. 2.5-year-olds are hardcore. I don't know the answer to that. So there are some reasons why insurance is expensive at the moment. I'm not going to sit here and say to you guys, you must never buy based on cost. At the moment, everybody's concerned with their bottom line and people are buying on cost. I would be putting my head in the sand if I said, look, ignore the cost, get the best cover available, and so on. But in order to be proactive in this space, really need to understand why the cost is what it is and what we can do about it. So we're in a naturally occurring hard market at the moment anyway. We already were before we had a horrific year of wildfires, floods, storms, hail, and then a pandemic. If you think about it like a pie chart, we were already a couple of years ago entering into a hard market, the hardest one that I've seen in my career. Before that, it was very soft. So cheap rates, lots of cover around, everybody's kind of, throwing around all these super cheap premiums. So you have a naturally occurring hard market, and then we have the horrific fires, for example, that Australia suffered from. Recently we had a large hailstorm in Brisbane, and these figures are massive. The insurance industry has really suffered from that. Plus you have a pandemic. So whilst there's lots of conjecture around cover in that space, you've also got insurers suffering in terms of low return on their investments. Interest rates are low. It's a pretty tough time for them. It's by no means an excuse, but it is an explanation as to why the market is hardening on you. It is, commercially speaking, it's understandable. So what it means for us is, I'm not sure when the hard market will end. I know we are in it at the moment and we will come out of it eventually. We have to. That's just how it works. But in the meantime, let's be proactive. Let's do the best that we can to find the most competitive cover for you. And there's things that you can do as well. So possibly if you're not being asked these questions by your broker, the question is why not? But also looking at your paperwork and really understanding what you're looking at. So deductible levels, deductible excess, the same thing. It's the amount you pay when you have a claim. Are they suitable? Can they be increased or decreased? Typically speaking, if you increase your deductible, you will reduce your premium, and vice versa. It's very important to make sure that you can afford your excess. So if you did have a claim tomorrow, do you have that money sitting there? And what will happen is the insurer will settle you less that amount of money. So you've got to make sure that that figure suits you and suits the schematics of your business at this time. However, it can't be ignored. And what we do with our clients is we actually give options. If you wanted to take this excess, this is your premium. However, if you looked at this option, this is your premium. And it's kind of a discovery with the client as to how they feel about that space, because it really is very different depending on what business you have and the cash flow that business receives on a weekly, monthly basis. Your claims experience, pretty obviously, is another one to look at and consider. So if you've suffered a number of losses during the year, or you've got a repetition issue where you're having a lot of motor vehicle claims, for example, that is going to have an effect on your policy and your premium. So there are certainly things that can be looked at there from both sides. Your broker should be going to market and looking at all the alternate terms available. Some insurers only do motor fleets and they say, yes, this is our market. We know there's going to be claims, but we underwrite the policy a specific way to acknowledge this. So really with your claims experience, it's about having your broker, or if you're doing it yourself, understand what the market's doing and how they're going to receive that claims experience. There are also things you can do, and I use motor fleets again as just an example, to mitigate your own loss. So are staff taking vehicles home at night? Is that something you can change? I have stories around sort of real estates, for example, with some younger staff who take the vehicles out and about each day, and you've got, 15 to 20 claims a year with them banging into things and lampposts and things like that. I would say they stopped very quickly once they realized that their employer was going to hold them responsible for some of that excess should a claim occur. So there are little bits and pieces you can look at and kind of curate your own loss mitigation. But typically speaking, deductible levels will have an impact on your premium also. The next point I've got there is the interest rate on your monthly funding. So a lot of my clients now pay by the month. It used to be a 50-50 split of clients that would pay up front, and alternatively you can pay in installments over a 10 or 12 month period. Now it's about 70% funding, 30% not. And that's just a sign of our economic state at the moment. Cash flow is tough, things are tough, business is slow for a lot of people. So funding is really helpful. The flip side of that is there is an interest rate that applies, and it's extremely important to ask your broker or speak to your funding company if you've managed that directly. What's happening with my interest rate? Have you negotiated this down? as standard, we will always go back to our funding companies and say, it's at this, I want this, what can you do? That's part of our advocacy for clients. And it's absolutely worth asking your broker, have you gone back to the funding company about this? Premium funding is a very competitive space. We have access to more than one funding company. And it is really important to say, is this the best you can do? Because that can make a big difference on your monthly costs. And look, the last one's pretty obvious, but again, I think it gets forgotten during busy parts of the year, is review. Look at what you've got insured. So at the end there, I've got take into account the excess and the GST at claim time. So business insurance, typically speaking, they're not going to settle you the GST because you're going to claim on that anyway. So if you've got a $1,000 phone and you take out your $500 excess and your GST, is it worth paying the premium at all? It needs to kind of be a review. So what are we paying over here? What does it mean if we take this off? And that's a conversation that's a really important one with your broker as well. So all of those points really rely on a great relationship with your broker and them understanding a business and sort of throwing out options for you and you guys negotiating with the insurer based on that information. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense.
Okay.
When you say review, Lizzie, I mean, realistically, should you review twice a year?
I see my clients a few times a year.
Yeah.
It's either on Zoom, over the phone. I like to go out in person. That's me. I like to walk around, if they've got a warehouse or a site, because I do my own risk reviews myself personally as well, obviously. And we sometimes will get in a third party to review it as well. Absolutely twice a year internally. If you've got a lot of stock coming and going, you're probably already reviewing in terms of having a look at what's inside your four walls as well. I don't think the onus necessarily should be on the insured person because your broker should be reminding you of that. That's our job. It's better for me, the better your business goes. So let me help you get to the point where your business is humming by taking care of that governance for you. That's a really important part of what we do is, advocating for that client and really saying, how about this? Have you thought of this? I'm checking in. How are we tracking with that? Because sometimes a client will give me a heads up 3 months out. We've got a machine coming in from overseas. Let's start the cover from this date. Okay, great. All of a sudden COVID hits, for example, machine's delayed, client forgets to ring me, but I'm on the phone to the client saying, and all good brokers are saying, is our machine here? If it's not, let's not start the cover yet. So it's kind of a back and forth and it needs to be a really comfortable conversation. Okay, I'm going to go to my next one. Right, this one's an important one, recognizing your power as the client. And I say that because the SME market in Australia is something I'm so passionate about because it's the lifeblood of our communities. We employ 2 out of 3 Australians and women own 35% of that small business now. So it's certainly time for us to really sit in that power. I know we already are. It's a very tough group of people. I get to interact with business owners every day, all day. And they get up and they dust themselves off and they work the long hours and they do the hard yards. And it's just so impressive. And I really want clients to sit in that and own that. And I say power as the client because you actually can demand a certain level of service. And if you're not getting that for whatever reason, you deserve it. And you need to ask the questions, why isn't this happening? What's happening over here? And that sort of follows on to my next point being, can you phone your broker on the mobile? Do they recognize you when you phone them? Are you getting responses in a suitable time frame? Are you being palmed off and kind of not phoned back? I get many, many calls from people that have had a bad experience with an insurer directly or somebody else, which surprises me so much. But at the end of the day, you've actually got the right to ask those questions and demand that service. And if you're not getting it, the question is why. So at Evolution, I work as part of Insurance Advisor Net. So we work under their umbrella. Their standards are extremely high. Where I worked prior to opening my business was with another office at Insurance Advisor Net. Their standards are exceptionally high. They have very stringent guidelines. They are constantly checking, making sure things are going the way they should be. There's really no way to give bad service. And look, lastly, I've just put there, make decisions that are in the best interest of your business, and don't make them at claim time. Make them now. You know, we are just about to, actually, the Bureau of Meteorology have said that we're entering our La Nina, which means that we have wild weather coming. There's far bigger chance of tropical cyclones. We've got higher tides. There's going to be heavier than normal rainfall, that sort of thing. Have a look at your cyclone excesses. Talk to your broker. What does it look like for me should something like that happen? And it needs to be someone that you can ring and they know who you are and they know where you are and they know what your exposures are, because it's such a wide range that familiarity really needs to speak above all else.
And Lizzie, really, you know, one of the things we were talking about before we had the ladies join us on the call was so many small businesses don't really think that they've got much of a threat when it comes to getting hacked. So cyber risk insurance, those sorts of things. What are your thoughts on that?
I understand the hesitancy around it. It's a confusing space. Okay. So when you talk about cyber insurance, it sounds like some little man in a dark little corner trying to hack into your system to, you know, get your Spotify playlist. It's not that. It is an enterprise now in some European countries where people go to work, sit in front of their computer and will pull data from everywhere and continually do that all day, every day until they can get what they need from you. A standard cyber insurance claim without the theft of funds is about $25,000. And that is just to get you back online, do the checks and balances in terms of what's going on in your systems, and get it recovering data if that's possible. If you need to put together a formal notification to the relevant government body and to people that could have been affected, it's about $50,000 to $60,000. So cyber insurance, it's hard to understand, but I can't press enough how important it is. So what I normally do is if a client comes to me and says, what about cyber insurance? I actually use some claims examples and then work my way backwards. Which we don't have time for today, but if somebody has questions about that, contact me. We can understand it by using some tangible examples and working our way backwards instead of me talking to you about hacking and firewalls and phishing emails and, multi-factor authentication and things like that.
And what about, we've got this rise of women moving out of corporate and becoming kind of executive freelancers and working a lot from home. Essentially, they've got a PTY Ltd or a sole proprietor set up. I mean, what kind should they be looking at protecting their business as an executive freelancer?
Absolutely. Look, it all depends on the occupation that you're working in. I mean, at the end of the day, you really can't get onto any site, sell any product, offer any service to anyone without public liability insurance. That you can't get into any schools, any government agencies, you can't go anywhere without that. So typically speaking, you must have that. And then you kind of build out from that depending on the occupation. So you've got a professional indemnity space there. And a lot of companies now, a lot of agencies are asking for people to have professional indemnity where they didn't used to before. There's a lot of onus on the individual contractor to have as much cover as possible to get on site, for example, or to, offer their consultancy services over here. So you must have insurance. It just depends on how much insurance that you're willing to look at. But having a broker there to step you through that, our job is not to sell you all the insurance. Our job is to say to you, this is what we believe you need. These are the fundamentals. This is why. Let's understand. And like I said to you, Lynn, what we do is I say to my client, take me through a day. What do you do in your day? Who are you seeing? Where are we going? What do we do after we see that person, so that I can understand holistically what that occupation is? Because quite often a 2-word answer is just not enough. It doesn't cover everything that person might be doing.
And I mean, you've been in this insurance space for 17 years now. What are the main things that have come up that have changed?
Cyber insurance is a massive exposure. It is huge. Aside from that, our laws around employment are fairly punitive in that there's pretty large holes for employers. It's very regulated. Management liability insurance has different sections to it, one of which is employment practices liability. Those are pretty common. So unfair dismissal, harassment in the workplace, and sometimes it's it's absolutely, the claim is will absolutely stand up, and it should absolutely have been claimed on, and it's perfectly fine. But sometimes it can feel really unfair on that employer. You need to make sure you're protected, your asset is protected. Think of it like house insurance, but for your business, for the governance in that business.
Yeah, I was talking to a resilience expert this morning. She was saying that that the rise of claims against mental health issues
and
is growing.
Absolutely. And I have no doubt about that, because what you have now is a lot of staff are working from home. So you have employers that had a responsibility in the office, and they still do, but it's in a remote location. So if you aren't in a dynamic headspace with that as an employer, and really thinking ahead and getting advice and seeking out, counsel on that, you're in the danger zone, I would say. And staff deserve a level of safety in the workplace, and that may look different now, but if you stick your head in the sand, that's not going to save you. You need to make sure you're moving with the times.
Yeah, we was really interesting, because a lot of the issues around bullying and harassment within the workforce come from the lack of leadership training. We employ people that are based on their technical competency, their technical brilliance, and now there's this extra layer of realization that companies, organizations need to be ensuring that their managers and their leaders are being developed through emotional intelligence and resilience training and management training. And there's a very massive cost associated to the business if they don't do that.
Absolutely. And it's pretty exciting, actually. I think it feels like we are beginning to become more forward thinkers, if you will, and kind of that dinosaur era of just deal with it, get over it, take a deep breath, move on. It seems to, it's very unpopular now. It's very unsafe also.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. Well, this has been such an interesting insight, and you really cut to the chase. Are there any questions from the ladies? Maybe Helen Nan, maybe you could jump on and introduce yourself, and maybe give us some any feedback about thoughts that you've got going through your mind. Are you there, Helen? Or have you jumped off?
Yes, just a moment.
Excellent. I can't hear you, Helen. How are you going? Maybe while we wait for Helen to get organised, if you can stop sharing that. Is that the last slide there, Lizzie?
Yeah, pretty much. I'll just what do I do here?
Pop your contact details up so anyone can find you on LinkedIn too. So Helen, have we got you? Excellent. Can we hear you?
Yes.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm a financial advisor, so I'm providing really comprehensive advice. So it's including insurance, investment, superannuation, retirement planning, and also some really complex areas such as SMSF and ACE care. So I'm not really providing advice for the business insurance. Likewise, I'm sitting in this session and to hear what Lizzie is talking about.
And are you seeing that some of these issues are really, really starting to become very front of mind at the moment across some of your clients?
Yeah, actually, insurance becomes more important because of the pandemic, and also in the last 6 months, I am working with my business partner. She's specialized in all different kind of insurance, like business insurance and general insurance and personal insurance. And in the last 6 months, she also got lots of claims.
And I believe you've recently launched a book, Helen.
Yes, I did.
How's that going?
Yeah, it's great. So I wasn't sure. So when I first launched the book, I just feel I would like to let other people know about our business and also our service. So after lawyer commission, there were lots of confusions in the markets. Lots of people don't really fully understand what the financial advisors are doing. And also some people, they want to engage with the financial advisors, but they are not sure if they are ready for the advice, or some of them even have that kind of worries. If I have enough money to see the financial advisor, so that's why I published the book to let other people know what financial advisors are doing and how we can help clients.
Well, feel free to drop your link in to everyone about your book into the chat box. Okay. Sally Prosser, have you finished lunch? Are you going to be able to pop on and check in and tell us what's been going on in your world?
Sure can. I haven't even got my good microphone plugged in though, so my audio must be sounding terrible right now.
No, it's fine.
You're fine, Sal.
Little bit of an echo, but not too bad.
Yes, never use the computer audio. I actually teach this stuff. But I mean, look, I've got all this gear around here, and it's a constant studio here.
Well, we're being a bit mean because we didn't warn you. BWA webinars are very interactive. We're as much about networking and meeting each other as about profiling our amazing members. So tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. Well, thanks for having me. I was invited by the lovely Lizzie here today. Hello, great to see you. I am a voice and presentation coach. So my background is I started out as a speech and drama teacher, and then I was a radio and television news journalist, and then I was a spokesperson for Brisbane's water and sewage company. And so what I do now is kind of a mishmash of all of those things, including media training, corporate communication, and of course, voice production work.
Awesome. I can hear that in your voice. It's incredible. Really amazing. And was there anything in particular that might have jumped out for you in terms of any of Lizzie's content?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't really have, I shouldn't say I have no insurance. I've got my public liability insurance for people who come and work with me. But it's definitely a reminder that it's worth me thinking about that cybersecurity element of insurance, especially with almost 100% of my business online now. And so, yeah, I guess insurance is one of those things no one wants to think about. Getting insurance and getting your will done, but two things that I need to do next year.
That's so true. Okay, we're going to hold you to that, Sally. We're going to check in with you next year and see how you're going with your will and your insurance. Hannah Rose, how about you? What's happening in your world?
Hello, everyone. I'm a big fan of Liz, and she is my insurance broker. And I just want to give a massive plug to her because she knows what she's talking about. I'm a baby in my business, but I have, so my background is I am an educator. I am a guidance officer in a school. I have my master's in education. I have just completed my life coaching certification, and I absolutely love the health and fitness space. But most importantly, I love helping people break through limiting beliefs and also help them tell their most powerful version of themselves. So I'm about to launch into the digital space of a business next year with my launch date of 21st of January 21. I love the number 7. And yeah, I'm super excited. And I guess my question to Liz is, with the online space, and when we're talking about publishing things, obviously through video and through written work and blogs and podcasts, is that come under one big umbrella of insurance, or is the cyber thing separate to the personal indemnity? Can you kind of help me clear that up in my own head?
Cyber's separate, just to put it simply. So cyber, the reason cyber is so important is there's new regulation now around mandatory reporting. So if you have a breach, if you're holding my data, for example, which you would be because you are my life coach, there is the onus on you to hold that safely. I think where people get confused is when you say, oh, don't worry, the cloud's storing my stuff, or I utilize company X to store all of that for me and organize it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You're the one that took my data and stored it for me per our agreement. And so now you're responsible should something happen. The media side of things is separate and it's a separate cover, but cyber itself pertains to your responsibility for my data as well as your own, and, you know, the costs surrounding the hack into your system. But if we're talking about the way we interact with each other and the way that the policy interacts with that, it is a separate entity altogether.
Okay, awesome. That's crystal clear now in my head. I need everything. Sign me up.
Fantastic. Thanks, Hannah. That's a great shout out. That's awesome. And we've got Mila on here. Mila's she's a finance manager at Griffith. Mila, are you still with us? Oh, I think she might have popped off. Okay, Mila's had to go. Felicity, do you want to say hello and let us know what you're up to? Felicity might have disappeared as well. You never know when we haven't got the video on. You could be listening. Here we go. She's here.
Sorry,
thought you might have gone off to put a load of washing on or something.
She's at the beach. There you go. We should have known.
I am actually, yes, I am. This is a bit of a random. I saw your the post on LinkedIn, so I'm really here to support Lizzie because I actually work for QBE and I'm one of the insurers that Lizzie deals with. And it's always interesting to hear from a broker's perspective going out to consumers. So I think that's you've done an amazing job there, Lizzie. So I'm very proud of you right now. And Lizzie's one of the brokers that I look after as a business relationship manager for QBE. And the reason why I really want to support Lizzie is from the point of view that there's not enough female brokers in the industry. So I would rate Lizzie as an up and comer, very much so. And from that perspective, I think that's why I was quite interested in coming along to today's presentation, Women in Business, and supporting that, because I think we need more and more strong personalities in the female side of business out there in the market.
It's so true. And look, women are starting up their businesses faster than anyone else. You know, we've got a massive number of women that are leading the way, leaving executive life, setting up their own kind of often consulting practices, B2B kind of businesses. And then we've got a lot of very entrepreneurial women that are creatives and setting up their online businesses. It's quite phenomenal. Busy women doing amazing things. So, you know, I think that what I love about Lizzie is that she just cuts to the chase. She makes it all very easy to understand and takes a genuine interest in her clients' businesses. So it's pretty phenomenal, actually. So I don't know anyone more enthusiastic about business insurance than Lizzie. It's quite amazing. So what we'll do now, in terms of those of you, how many of you are actually in the Gold Coast? Hands up. Yeah, so Lizzie will be very keen to get together with you to get ideas around what we would love to do, a face-to-face event, even if it's a bit of a social gathering where you invite some of the other women within your networks to actually come on board and join in to get to meet each other. It's sometimes hard to meet those executive and professional women. And you know, we're not a numbers game. It doesn't have to be a massive big event. It doesn't have to be hard to do. Felicity, did you want to say anything? Oh, that was you. That's okay. I just saw your name pop up again. I'm actually going to do a bit of a fun thing. So touch base with we'll do maybe another think tank, but if you've got any ideas, let Lizzie know. But what we do is we finish off our webinars with a bit of a fun 5 questions to Lizzie. So Lizzie's got to get back on. Let's see you again, Lizzie. Get off mute. Okay, these are actually random questions. These are my cards, and everyone dies when I pull them out because they don't actually know what these are.
Are they about insurance?
No.
Right.
Okay, look, she's bracing herself. She's ready. Yep. Okay, Lizzie, what was your high school like?
Big and scary.
Do you want to say anything more about that?
You know what? I had braces, crooked teeth, and glasses. It was like a trifecta for me. So, no, it was fine. It was, I think, your quintessential high school experience. and I'll never go back.
They must have thought you were my little sister. I had braces. Okay. What expectations did you have from life when you left school?
I thought you work, you get money so that you can go out clubbing. It was pretty much those three items. And I knew I wanted to work.
Was that right?
Yes, it was right, Lynn. Yes. I knew I wasn't going to study straight away. I knew I loved working. I loved the enterprise department of anything, of, you know, working and saving your money and doing the things. I really loved that.
Brilliant. Okay, tell us about a present that made you feel special. Have you ever had a present given to you that made you feel really special?
Actually, you know what I do love? See these pictures here? Our daughter's kindy gave them to us, and they're all done by her in different formats. Some of it's sand and grass and who knows what else. But they're probably the most special gift I have, and I framed them and put them on the wall so that if I'm having a tough day, I glance around and I'm reminded as to why.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I love that.
I could probably sell them. They're not bad.
Yeah, actually, they look like famous abstracts.
I wouldn't know.
They might be.
Yeah.
Watch this space. She might
Exactly.
be. Okay. Tell us about a time when you felt truly loved.
Oh, it's a very gushy, Lynn. I'm not huge on gushy. When I felt truly, really the simplest of times when it's just my husband and my daughter and I. Actually, that's such an obvious one. I will say one other thing. When I launched my business, I did not expect the influx of people to give their profound support, not just pat on the head, good on you, well done, real tangible counsel and advice and care. And they didn't need to do that. Nobody needed to do that. It's busy. It's a pandemic. Everybody's freaking out. I felt very much seen and heard and acknowledged, and I will never forget that.
Awesome. That is amazing. Okay, last one. I can't tell you if it's going to be a gushy one or not because I really don't know what's coming up. Okay, tell us about a time when people's reactions surprised you. Actually, you've just said that, so I'm going to do another one because you've just told me about that. Oh, this is a strange one coming from me. Tell me about a time when you felt old.
Right before my next Botox appointment is usually a real or when I do F45, and sometimes I think, am I going to pass away? Is this it? So one of those two things. But I'm telling you, F45 is a rough one. It is 45 minutes of hell.
Oh, they're brilliant. They're great questions, Lizzie.
Great.
Thanks for playing.
Thanks
Can't
for
say
having
playing
me.
hard because someone else owns that tagline. But that has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and exposing the myths of business insurance. We're going to dig deep next year too. We're going to do some more things with you, so that's going to be amazing. Everyone on the Gold Coast, who would be up for a drinks with BWA at one of the local? Yeah, awesome. Lizzie's going to have a look around and see if you know of anyone in hospitality that's a female-owned bar or female-managed.
I found a couple.
Awesome. We try and do the best we can to support other women in business. So let us know some venues, Lizzie, and we'll get some dates.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm working on it.
In the meantime, Christmas is already around the corner. I can't believe it. I did some Christmas shopping on the weekend, and there's Christmas carols and Christmas things up, and it just feels really weird. But aren't we all lucky to be able to be in places where we can actually think about that? And even if it might be a small gathering, you know, last year we were all connecting on with family over, you know, in the sunshine, and then all of a sudden it was lockdown and we're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Are we even going to be able to see each other? So I've actually just got my daughter back from Melbourne, so that's pretty phenomenal. It's just been such a weird year, hasn't it?
It's been freaky, very, very strange. And also I've often found myself just feeling very, very fortunate to be in Queensland, and look, essentially anywhere but Melbourne.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been tough going for other folks, and you know, my heart goes out to all of those guys.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you, everyone. What an incredible session. That was awesome. Have a wonderful rest of the week. What a great way to kickstart Monday.
Thanks,
Lizzie
everyone.
Nelson.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.